wow, this is insane. And I thought, man, if I did this on a regular basis, like this place would be blowing up. I would have to expand. I wouldn't even have space to hold everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to the Successful Stylist Academy podcast. I am your host, Ambrosia Carey, and today we are going to be talking about the sexy topic of blogging. So I'm going to be welcoming my girlfriend, guest, and part of our SSA community, Rachel Dupree, who's a brand manager for SSA. And she's in charge of the merch as it relates to our community and the creative disbursement of content and digital strategies. So please welcome with me, Rachel. Hello.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Ambrosia, for this opportunity.
Little backstory, you guys, for those of you who don't know Rachel, she and I met years ago at an event that I was hosting with a different starter company, which it's kind of funny because it's all coming back full circle. Like, I don't know. It's so bizarre to me. Like anybody who's listening right now, if you ever have a thought and you're not really sure how you want to play out, so then you just hold off on doing anything. I will say right now, if you just move forward and you take one step at a time, it's okay if you don't know the full layout of the future, because even when you do think you know what you want, even as you take those steps, it may unfold differently anyway.
So I basically got started out of pure curiosity, started my own website. And then at that time, they were really one of the only ones that you could create. And so I would use the photo grids from my Instagram onto the website. And then I'm like, okay, I need to add words to this. So that's really the bare bones of what I had and what I started with. Instagram was also that area where I kind of tied the two together, and I still do that. And I still encourage everyone to do that. So it is kind of funny how really the foundation of it hasn't changed much. And the element of SSA, I think it's just really important for everyone to have a space online.
What would you tell somebody who had never heard of blogging in their lives? Like, pretend I'm a little kid. Like, what does blogging mean? Like, what is blogging?
So blogging to me is, it can be so multifaceted, but the base of it is truthfully you putting something on the internet in whatever form and fashion that you would like visually, with connecting words and photos. Like, to me, that's the most rudimentary way to put it. And I love it because everybody can show their unique style, their unique words, like how you speak. You can literally speak in text form that way, and then tie that into photos that you take in your personal life, or you could use stock photos that somebody else took, but you can tie in your life. And what is so incredible about it is that we each have a story, and so you can tell it however you would like on a platform, which would be the website, and you can house that and host it literally however you prefer. And there's so many different ways to do that.
If I were to explain it on the level of the beauty community, I would say that the way it relates to business is that you get to teach your future clients about your products and services, which is like your bread and butter, right? That's the most important thing. But it also builds deeper relationships, which is hard to do these days. It's harder to get those touch points. A lot of times, especially for us being service providers, we have to rely on them coming in to see us and having an amazing experience while they're there. And once they leave, the longer the duration goes, the harder it is to keep that connection with that person. So deeper relationships, and it's a key source to new leads, so people can discover you easier. And so that kind of leads into the story. I was telling you guys that I have a story to this, and this is how I discovered this by accident. When I first bought into the salon, I was just like, oh my God, this is hard. What have I done? And, talk about having the meltdowns every other night. I was just like, why did I do this to myself? Like, why can't I just be happy with what I had? And but there was a calling. I needed to do it. I needed to see what it was like. But what I started to do is I started to take some information I was putting on social media, because I was using social media as a source to teach hairstylists. And what I didn't realize is that like a year later, 2 years later, I started getting clients coming into the salon who discovered the salon through this blog post. And inadvertently, I was attracting my future clients through a blog post I'd written a year or 2 years ago. I was astonished. I was like, wow, this is insane. And I thought, man, if I did this on a regular basis, like this place would be blowing up. I would have to expand. I wouldn't even have space to hold everyone.
I'm going to say one thing about my experience on doing research on other hairstylists as a customer. So I just moved to Kansas City and I needed a hairdresser to do my hair because I don't have Ambrosia here. She usually does my hair.
Darn.
And so anyway, one of my friends, my new friends here, suggested this gal. So what do? I go to social media. I go to her Instagram, see if she even has an Instagram, first of all, and she did. Second of all, then I see that, okay, I can book here. I want to see what her services cost. First of all, is she in my budget? And then out of the curiosity that my brain works in is, okay, does she have a website? And what's this website look like? And does she have a portfolio on her website? And all of those boxes were checked. So I felt secure and comfortable enough to then have an appointment with her. And first, of course, that was a reach out and a mini consultation over messages. And so those are really important things to me as a customer. I'm in the beauty industry, so I know like the lingo and that kind of thing. So thankfully that's like something on my end, but I would assume as a normal customer who is on social media, those are steps that they would take as well, because that is really just a showcase for you and your business, what you have to offer before they even get to meet you. And that's the wild part, is you don't get to even explain yourself. You don't get to share anything about yourself other than what's on the digital world. And that would be your website. So in relation to all of that, what I think is really cool is that, like you said, you can do the education part. You can house your portfolio, so a visual representation of your work, past collaborations perhaps. So like, for instance, this gal was really cool. She got to work with the Kansas City cheerleaders, and she had posts about that, her experience, along with photos. So there's proof that she literally did do it, which I thought was really cool, but
Nice.
it validates her skills in her market. And then the other thing about that is you can lead in to your aftercare with your customers. So in the hair salon, you of course are talking about products and you're talking about different styles and how to achieve these, but you're in a time crunch. There's only so much time and so much energy that you can give, and that the the client will receive in that moment. And I think it's really important at this point to continue that relationship outside of the salon. So just like what you're saying, to have that touch point with them, and your website would be that would be a really great element to say like, hey, go check out my blah, blah, blah website. And you can find out how I do my hair. So you can visually teach them through video or just photos, for instance, or step-by-step tutorial, how to curl their hair or what 5 products they need to have. And then what the beauty of all of this is, the way the world is moving in the direction that we're going is that we need to all start diversifying our income. We cannot be dependent just on one income, in my belief. And I think Ambrosia would completely agree with me on this.
Yes.
And one of the huge things as a stylist or just even a salon owner, you can add to your income by having affiliate links. That's like the easiest way to say it. That means that you can put a link within your blog post, or just if you don't even want to write a blog post, you can just have a tab on your website that says discounts or products or whatever, or shop. And those can be little drop downs to must have products. And in the most basic form, that is a trackable link where you can get a kickback, which means a commission.
What would you say would be the 5 best practices to blogging?
Big portion of it is visual. So I think it's really important to have your own website that is of the times and updated and branded. So definitely the visual element is super important. You can find templates online through various websites. Just Google it or YouTube it, and you will find some really fantastic ones, and you don't have to spend a fortune on it. I also think that it's very important to have a platform that you feel comfortable with using. So for instance, you can go from the self-hosted website end of things, or you can have a platform that allows you to kind of just plug and play different bits, and you can drop in different things and edit it that way. There are benefits and not necessarily cons to the others, but I just think it's really important to own your content. And so housing it on a self-hosted website is really the best way to do that. And then my third one would be the visual element carrying over into like a video form. I think that's the future of blogging. So that is technically more in the vlogging world and kind of overlaps, but I do think it's really important to have some sort of video element, and you can embed that into your website or into any blog post, for instance, and that can carry over to YouTube if you would like. So that's just an example. Another one is email marketing. Just think of offering someone something in return for their email, and that allows you basically to have a continued dialogue with them and a continued invitation to reach back out to them.
I think mine are going to be more action oriented. So the actions that I would say would be to answer the most asked questions you answer on a regular basis to clients. Sometimes we forget that what we know and all the information that we know, and we forget some of the most common questions that our clients are asking. Sometimes our clients don't know what to book. You can educate your clients through that. Sometimes clients don't know at-home care. Yeah. Another one that I would say is blogs give great context to create social media posts out of. And that was something you talked about before when you were talking in our membership page, actually, Rachel.
Yes.
Like just taking a blog post and simplifying it or breaking it down and making those like the things that you talk about in your social media posts. And then of course you could always link it. So if somebody wanted to read more, how awesome would that be? You can create carousels out of it where they can have a top tips. The details can be in the description in the bio.
Like we've talked about before, even in the society page, is that you don't own your space on social media. So everything that you have posted is really at the mercy of somebody else. So if you can get your content off of there and your photos off of there over to your website, then that is creating more SEO for Google, for instance, to pick you up and share you. So even if you literally did copy and paste the photo and the text underneath your IG post or Pinterest post and blast it on your blog, that would just be creating more. And Google likes all of those little breadcrumbs, basically. So it's just validating you to Google, and then that will be shared to the masses. Yeah, we didn't really get into much SEO, but that's definitely a fantastic point and a great way to get leads back to you, even like you said, over the years.
Assuming that you guys listening are like, oh yeah, SEO this, SEO that.
Yeah.
SEO is search engine optimization. Basically, think of it as like keywords that you would type in the search engine are equivalent to hashtags in social media. So the stronger the SEO currency, or like what I was calling it, your credit score for your SEO, the stronger that is, then the more likely that it will show up when somebody actually types something in the search engine. What do you feel like the best practices would be to creating a blog and social media to support one another?
I do product reviews a lot. And so I like to have a video element and still photos. And so that would be similar to like a hairstylist in a salon, is that you would work with those photos and have those elements. So you have your visual elements and then put text to that element. So for instance, you could work IG first and then work that over to Pinterest and a blog. Or you could do like what Ambrosia said, is start with the blog first and then break those down into other social posts. Whichever way you do it, it doesn't really matter because you're going to cross post and cross promote each of those bits of content. I personally like to start with that visual element and then write the text about it and then share it onto the platform. So a lot of times I'll work in like a Word doc or a note and then have all of that written out first, and then I'll post it. Basically, you've already spent the time and energy and effort into creating that, and you might as well blurb it out to as many places as possible and let it live there. And Sometimes things will get picked up differently on TikTok versus Instagram, and it's actually quite amazing. One other big one for me is YouTube. I used to do a good chunk of YouTube videos like tutorials, makeup, product reviews, and that kind of thing. A lot of them actually were like hair tutorials. The biggest thing and the biggest thing I get caught up on is the consistency part and overthinking. Like that is going to be the death of me, because it's just a form of self-sabotage. Let's be honest. So my encouragement to you is just start small, just get it going. It doesn't have to be perfect. The website doesn't have to be gorgeous. Just find something that fits you, that has your branding colors, which you can change, and get your domain before it gets taken, or someone else by the same name takes it. So start with your domain, get that off of like Google domains or Namecheap. There's all different ones. Just pay $12, get the URL, and get that, at least your little stake in the internet sand. And then find a website hosting platform. So look at wordpress.org. That's self-hosted. It's a lot more work. If you are interested in learning coding, that's the way to go. But if you just are really intimidated by that, not something you're interested in, go on the other end of the spectrum, which would be Squarespace. I would definitely recommend Squarespace. You can even check out Showit. That's a beautiful visual platform, and that can overlay into Squarespace and or WordPress. Probably stick to posting once a week. If you can manage, if you can't manage that, go down to like 2 times a month. But it doesn't have to be this huge long thing that's intimidating. Get to 500 words, get your pictures attached to it, post that baby, and move on. Like, don't make it more than it has to be. And that's the advice I need to take myself too. But just make it easier for yourself to be successful with that, and you will not regret it. I guarantee you will have wished you started yesterday, because if 2013 Rachel could have like gotten to this point and realized the opportunity nowadays, then it would be a whole different game. So I encourage you to just get started, have fun with it. Don't make it more than it is. And always feel free to ask us questions too, because I love to answer any questions.
Rachel, thank you so much for helping us break it down proper, like with just all the value that you brought with the blogging tips. And any reviews that you leave in the meantime, I will definitely be giving you guys shout outs on the Instagram. So thank you so much, guys. And I will see you very, very soon. Take care.